By definition, marriage is the legally or formally recognized union of two people as partners in a personal relationship. Misconceptions is taking the time to highlight what marriage looks like in the Black and Brown community.
Right. We are Mr. and Mrs. Dunson, Sheena and Brandon Dunson.
Hola.
And then this is our newest member, Jace Dunson. 3 months. We had to bring him in the video. For all you parents, you understand. So getting into these questions. So who were you before you met your spouse?
I was in college and a football player.
I was in college, a girl from California, introducing myself to the Midwest. How did you know that your spouse was the one for you?
You want to go first?
Go ahead, I'm reading you go.
I think it was the point in which I feel like she was one of the few people who got me, who understood my little quirks, understood my nonverbals. Someone who was a good friend, I would say, to begin with, and it evolved from there. So I think I kind of knew she was the one for me when I got to the point where even times where I would go out and hang out, I always was thinking about her in the moment.
So how did I know he was the one? A lot of the stuff he touched on, but it was literally more of knowing that I could love him unconditionally. And of course, that takes a lot of ups and down battles throughout your relationships. But throughout our ups and downs, I knew that I could love him unconditionally. So that being that he could deal with my craziness as well. Because I didn't think I was crazy, but according to him and others throughout my life, I started realizing, yeah, I could be a little much, but I know that he kept me balanced. So the crazy didn't really come out much with him. It was more of, I was still very patient with him, understanding with him. So overall, that let me know that he was the one for me. What do you think prepared you for marriage, and how would you say the preparation has worked in your marriage?
What prepared us for marriage, I believe, was living together prior to becoming married, and understanding there's more to it than when we would visit each other when we was doing a long distance relationship. We got each other know each other more on a more intimate level, and it was almost like a test trial to being married and living under the same household by living together before we did it. And I would say the preparation also, we did marriage counseling. I'd say the balance between living together and marriage counseling, I think, prepared us very well to be living a married life.
Yeah, I have to agree with everything he said. That's definitely what prepared us completely. We all know that marriage is different when you enter into it and you are committed to seeing it through. We also know that there are bad days in marriage. On the days that you may not like each other, how do you handle conflict in your marriage?
I think Sheena excels in this area when it talks about conflict, because I'm one of them ones where I probably say I have a little anger management probably that needs to happen. But she does well when I get mad of being able to kind of talk me down. So I'll say the combination of her attitude in comparison to me being mad about something works fairly well for us. And then being able to come back to the conversation, when we're both have settled down, there's not as much tension and hostility in the air, allows us to talk through things.
I have to ditto on that, but it took a while to get to that level where I'm not being as hostile as he is. So it definitely took some practice and just understanding your partner. So with me being maybe belligerent or just mad about something just on the same level as him, that doesn't get anywhere. So knowing that, okay, he's upset, let me go ahead and understand why he's upset. And then from there, go from there, honestly. So just understanding, I guess, each other would be handling the conflict, because I'm pretty sure when I'm mad, he understands how to deal with me as well. Let's see. What does love mean to you, and explain?
I think, just like the Bible says to a certain degree, I feel like love is patient. And when I mean patient, I mean allowing someone to be them, but work through whatever it is they're working through with the end goal of being a benefit to you. I think love is understanding how to compromise to the point where you always want something out of it, but you take in consideration of what they want and how it impacts them. And I think love is unconditional.
Yeah,
it's never wavering, no matter if it's good days, bad days. It still maintains and endures.
So love is definitely unconditional. I can definitely say that it's unconditional, loving that person unconditionally. Like it's a cliche, but loving the flaws and all. I really go with that, because the more you're with someone, in what you've dealt with throughout the years of being with that person, whether you've been with that person for a week, a month, however, you definitely know the ups and downs of how that person is. But I believe that's what it is to me. Selfless love is being selfless for that person. It's a lot of times, especially when I first had gotten married as well, it's literally you want that person to be happy, and sometimes that happiness might be over your happiness, but you really want that person to be happy. And I literally think that's all about love all the way around. Let's see. What would you say your spouse's love language is? Do you respond to your spouse's needs in their love language, and explain?
I think my wife has, we went through this whole exercise of reading the love languages books and things of that nature and understanding. I think my wife has two predominant love languages. I think touch is one, and I think words of affirmation is one. I think within touch, I think it comes a certain level of intimacy that comes with that, whether it's us kissing or hugging and things of that nature. And I think just sometimes a hug just is symbolic of a lot of things when someone is going through something, or when she's going through something. Sometimes a hug just is kind of reassuring to let you know everything is going to be all right. I think I can do a lot better in certain areas, specifically probably words of affirmation. But yeah, I think that's our two main love languages.
You know what? We did have this exercise, and you had two as well. But Noah's acts of service is his, and gift giving. So I do believe I'm getting better.
Make it sound superficial.
I'm getting better with the acts of service. I am. He is more of the type of, the acts of service isn't more on him telling me to do it. It's more of me wanting to do whatever he's needing. So basically I see whatever he's needing and I'm going to do it on my own, not him telling me to do it. So I do. Before, it used to be like I needed him kind of to tell me, like, what do you want? Because he's very, very independent. So it would be like, what does he really need? Like, he's on it. Like, it's hard for me to actually get into what he needs. But a lot of times what I'll just be, I have to really be intuitive of like, okay, I see him struggling on this. Let me help him on different areas I can help him out on. He doesn't necessarily need to tell me how to do it. And then gift giving, I love to give gifts. So I'm trying to just give even the smallest gifts. He's one of them. He kind of is superficial a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Because I have to give big gifts.
for special events, for birthdays and Christmas.
I would love to give the small gifts, but I think he kind of appreciates more of the big gifts.
Probably. Personal.
Yes.
Is more than anything. I like personal things.
Yes, he does. He loves the personal things. But I think we're getting better. Both of us actually is getting better with the love languages for sure. Let's see. How do you all handle accountability? That's personal goals, marital goals, career goals, and explain.
How do we handle
accountability?
I think we can do better in that area.
Yeah, we can.
I mean, we have a vision board. We have goal boards.
Yeah. So we write it out.
We write it out. We list it.
Yeah.
So we know what each other's goals are. We encourage each other to achieve those goals. But I don't think we do well when it comes to the accountability piece.
Yeah.
Luckily, the bottom fell down, not the pacifier. But the accountability piece, we probably could do a lot better on.
Yes.
But as far as goals, we definitely write them down. We acknowledge them, we put thought into them, and we encourage each other to achieve them.
Yes. That's basically what exactly we do. I don't have anything additional to say on that, but I agree we can do a little bit better on that. If you can go back to tell yourself one thing about how you saw marriage then versus how you see marriage now, what would it be? Let's see. One thing. Yes. Patience for me. That's what I would tell myself then and now. Yeah, so I would say patience. Because I believe, like, a lot of people think when you see it on TV, see how marriage is, it's so easy, it's so easy going. Marriage shouldn't be hard, anything of that. But it's actually false. When you actually go through marriage, it would definitely be patience for me. How about you?
I think the thing that people are not aware of when you talk about getting married is they understand and see their parents going through it and things of that nature. And they think, like, just because I love them and we care about each other and everything, like, it's going to be easy breezy. Marriage is work. Like, that's the thing they don't tell you. Like, it's work. You're constantly trying to better yourself. You're constantly trying to make sure the other person is happy. You're constantly making sure you're working through conflict and communicating. It's a constant process.
Yeah.
And then as you're growing up, you evolve. So the person that you married at 30 is not the same person at 35 and 40 and so on and so forth. So you have to meet them where they're at, type of ordeal. So that takes work and effort.
Definitely takes work. Okay, I'm going to sleep. Let's see. Do you believe the saying to enter into marriage you have to be completely whole, or do you think it's a misconception society tends to have? Explain.
Yeah. What is wholeness? I
I
have everything together before I get married, I would assume.
Yeah, I guess you'll have to be whole, and I have to say no.
Yeah, I would say no.
I have to say no. Like, just how you stated, like, all through life, people are going through all different things in life. Regardless, married, single, you're still going through. So you said meet them where they are. So to enter the marriage whole, I don't agree with that. So that's probably the society putting that on us, that we have to be. You have to have A, B, C, D all lined up perfect before you enter the marriage. And I don't.
I will say though, it's important for you if you feel like you're doing things prematurely to be transparent.
Yes.
About things, because you don't want to be married to anyone and then find out things after the fact.
Yeah.
Like you don't want to be married and find out they have a whole lot of debt. You don't want to be married and find out that she has a baby daddy, or like you want to know things. You want to be aware of the situations before you get into them.
Yeah, I have to say, a lot of times him and I, when we were dating, we were like, oh, you meet the representative. He said that to me before, like, you're meeting the representative when you're married. Plus, he's like a turtle, when he like is in a relationship, or he just thinks it all the way through. He's not about to go fast with anything unless he's certain and for sure about it. So a lot of times you're kind of meeting the representative, and sometimes that could be like years down the line. You're still in that representative phase until something occurs in someone's life where you're like, oh, that's how you act, or that's how you react to certain A, B, C, and D. Mm-hmm. Like, you don't really know, because a lot of times they can tell you whatever you want to hear, so it's literally what you've dealt with within your relationship that you actually can know who that person is. So entering it whole, I wouldn't say or even tell anyone to do that at all. Let's see. What are the things you do in order to keep from losing yourself in marriage, and explain? For me, I would say, because mental health is really, big. So literally making sure you're good. What makes you happy? So, you always have, you're a couple, that's your spouse, but you still want to maintain your individuality. So I think what makes you happy, what's your hobbies, having those girl time, having that guy time, those type of things, is making yourself grounded. Even if that's going to therapy, solo, whatever the case may be, that's what's going to keep you happy. So self-care would be the main thing I would say. What about you?
Yeah, you took a few of them right out of what I was going to say. I would say one of the things I do is I definitely, because we live in a city or a state where I don't have the bulk of my close friends here, I definitely take God trips and get together with my inner circle. Mm-hmm. I also spend time with family and talk to family, and just have, conversations, just, with them, as well as I do things outside of work. Like I coach football, and I have other hobbies I get into, just to keep the creative juices flowing and to feel like I'm still advancing in personal goals.
Okay. How do you think having children has / will impact / impacted your marriage? As you can see, this is our first kid.
He's a cock blocker.
It definitely can impact a marriage. If you don't have you're not aligned with the same type parenting goals, I will say, or parenting styles, it definitely can impact the marriage for sure, which is the reason why you should be talking about that before having babies, to know that, you don't want to know someone that doesn't do anything in the marriage, while having kids, and you're doing all the work, and that person is just not even around. You need to know all those type of things. So I think it definitely can impact a marriage for sure. We've done a pretty good job, and we talk a lot, so we already knew that how we will be when we have kids as far as our marriage is concerned.
Very true. We talked through a lot of hypotheticals.
We do. We
had a kid and he was doing this, he crashed the car, I would say this, or you would do this. We joke about it, but it would be some level of seriousness.
It's some level of seriousness. So if anybody asks, I would say Brandon is this way when we'll have kids. He'll be able to say Sheena is this way
true to form
when we have kids. Yes.
If I had a girl, it'd be a wrap. It would be a wrap. Sheena would have her hands full. With him, you see, I got him in the headlock now.
Well, yeah, and with him, I already knew. I'm like, oh, if I have a boy, it's about to be all bad for this boy. So I knew that I'm gonna have to nurture this boy as much as possible, because he's gonna be just such a hard on him, and I ain't gonna like all that. But this is all what we knew. Getting into it.
At least I took her off the bat. Yes. That's my little wingman, though.
I guess he is. What kind of life do you desire for your marriage and your children?
That's a good question.
Yes.
I desire a life that is loving. It is fruitful. I imagine to be able to have a great marriage and have kids who are smart, who are disciplined, and who understands they can grow up and be legitimately anything they want to be, and I'm always going to be there to support. I'm a strong believer of transparency and communication, so I really want to, teach them, and as we grow up, and if we have fortunate enough to have other kids, to I'm old school when it comes to like I'm totally fine with eating dinner or watching TV all together and talking about our day and be in tune with what's going on with my wife and my kids and make sure we're all on the same page and making sure we're still involved with church and understanding that God is going to lead the way and is always at the center of our life. And from there, let everybody be themselves and be individuals and learn through experiences and things of that nature. But that's my ideal state for the family.
Yeah, I have to ditto on that one, but I used to be like this person that loved the Run House. I don't know if you guys ever watched that, but the Run's House, like I literally loved it. I love family. I love a bunch of kids. I know we ain't gonna have a bunch of kids, but but I love the dynamic of a close-knit family because I was like the only child for 16 years on my mom's side. I have a lot of other siblings on my dad's side, but from my mom's side, I was 16 years. So I just love family, just a healthy, established relationship. So my desire would definitely be just a happy, close-knit family that respects one another, that can talk through things. So always says it takes a village, but I also say that's also within the household as well. So literally having a close-knit, if our child needs to go to him, he comes and brings it to me as far as whatever, and we all talk it through as a family. That's what I desire. So it is, and like he said, he as far as sitting at the table, we love to eat dinner with one another. So I desire that with our kids as well. We eat dinner. If that's 7:00, we all are sitting at the table eating dinner. Definitely the old school way, and I love that. So that's kind of like what I desire. And then our, as far as marriage wise, is constantly being happy with one another, taking trips with one another. So throughout the time, because a lot of times people aren't happy in their marriage. So literally keeping the lines of communication open. So even at times if we're not happy, at least we're knowing that and we can help one another through that. But literally keeping the lines of communication open with one another and still enjoying each other. Let's see. If you had to give someone words of encouragement for their marriage, what would it be, and explain? You kind of hit it all through this, huh?
Yeah, I would say communicate.
Mm-hmm.
I would say be willing to if you're always, and I've said this to Sheena plenty of time, if you're always willing to try, eventually you're going to get it right. If you're willing to put the work in,
yes.
If you're willing to put the work in and literally listen with the intent to understand and not with the intent to respond, mm-hmm. it'll always serve its benefit. Like, cause that's like, even if you get it wrong, in the case of you getting it wrong, you just learned how many different ways to do it wrong, and eventually you'll get to the point where you're doing it right. So that would be my advice, is just to be truly committed on to trying, to putting forth the level of effort it takes to resolve whatever the problem is, and just be open-minded, and yeah, just be all in, like, just communicate, and be totally committed to whatever is the process that you guys are going through.
Yeah, like you said, marriages work, so just knowing that level of commitment that you want to have in the marriage, that's so premarital counseling I highly recommend. Because a lot of times people don't talk through anything. Yeah, they know that they want to be with one another. They don't really know what marriage is, but they want to be with one another. So a lot of times they don't really talk through stuff. So they don't really know what each other is non-negotiables are. They don't know anything. So on those levels I would definitely recommend premarital counseling. And I would say, like you said, marriage is hard work, and just, I guess, fighting through it, to be honest with you. So one thing that you even hit the nail on years ago is pick your battles wisely. That's what I would say. So you don't want to always, he or she doesn't like whatever you're doing, and always nagging, whatever the case may be. There's no point. Like, pick your battles wisely. Is it worth, getting an argument at that moment in time? Is it worth all of that? No. There's bigger things that you probably have to get through and accomplish through together. So pick those wisely. Yeah, you don't want to keep on fighting over little small stuff.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
I mean, even from a guy perspective, I know there may be a lot of things that guys do stupid or say stupid or does something that women don't appreciate, but I think it becomes tone deaf if you want to address every single thing.
That's true.
Right? You become tone deaf to the point where now when you do complain, it doesn't be effective because you're always complaining.
Yeah.
Whereas if it's the opposite, if you don't complain, then when you do, we know it's something important.
Yeah, that's very true. And I definitely he can be tone deaf, so. Yeah. Well, so that's the words of encouragement. I learned that. Choose your battles wisely. But yeah, those are the list of the questions. But anything you want to add to, babe? Or
that was a question?
Yeah. Okay. Is why we got married. Anything else?
I mean, ultimately, like I said, I think it's important. People say it all the time, and it's kind of cliche. I think it's important to marry someone you absolutely get along with. Like, you guys, I think it's important to say that you're friends before you ever are engaged or married. I think it's important that you enjoy a person's company, right? So I think people get caught up with, they attractive, checkbox. They got a good personality, checkbox. Yeah. They have a good job. They meet all the qualifications and requirements that I look for in a person. But do you click? Like, do your energies match each other? Are you, the Bible calls it unequally yoked. Do you mesh well with this person? Because ideally, I think we've all met someone who we thought would check all the boxes and hang out, and you realize that, we don't mesh well at all, So I think it goes to something to be said of being able to genuinely enjoy someone as a friend and be close as friends first before you take the step to becoming married. Because what will happen is if you get married and that friendship hasn't evolved yet, or there is no camaraderie when it comes to the friendship, then I think once you become married, you realize that you don't necessarily have fun with this person.
Yes.
And that sucks, to be married with someone who you don't enjoy time with them. Like, if you don't enjoy their company, you think their humor is stupid, like that sucks, like, because you're now with this person, supposed to be for the rest of your life. So I would say that would be the best thing to do, is to make sure that y'all are equally yoked and you genuinely enjoy this person. They should really be your best friend before they ever become your companion.
Good advice.
That's my 2 cents.
2 cents. I would say just adding anything to it. Like you said, make sure that person is your best friend. Also, sometimes with religion reasons, but some people don't do it, but living together before you're married, because I say do it, but like I said, religion reasons. But I feel like you really get to know someone when you living together. And sometimes that's really hard when you're already married and then you just start living with someone and you notice all these things you do not like about this person, that now you really got to work through, and you just got married. Like, so I just feel like that should be worked through prior to getting married. A lot of people can hide things. Even if you go to their house all the time, they can still hide how they really are. When you finally live with them, they can't really hide that anymore. So, and I know for us, it was hard going through that living together because we both were apart, and living on our own for so long. Then living together with someone was like, whoa. It was a lot put on us. So I know that's hard for a lot of people that get married and then move in with each other.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. And there's something to be said too. I see a lot of people doing this when they move in. Not only they move in with each other, but one person moves into the other person's space.
Oh, that's a big point.
That's a big one too, where it's like, it's different when y'all both move into a house together or an apartment together. Then you coming and moving into his space, or he coming and moving into your space, because now you feel like they're infringing on what you already have. So it becomes, really problematic when those type of situations happen. So yeah, I'm a firm believer. I'm a Christian, but I'm still a firm believer of definitely, if you can't live together, then I definitely suggest spending long extended periods of times together, where you really can get a feel for a person of, through all different seasons, when they're happy, when they're mad, sad, and different, all those type of things. I heard the saying, and I think it's true. I can't remember who said it, so I'll just list it as anonymous. But they always say you want to see people in two different lights. You want to see the people who celebrate you and how a person acts when they're on top and they're doing well, and you want to see the same of how people treat you and how you react when you're doing bad. Right? When you're at your lowest of lows, who's coming to your aid, or how you're taking it, how you react and act to people. And then also when you're doing your best, when you've had that promotion, when you had that new car, or whatever it is, how you're treating other people and how people are encouraged by your success.